When you're growing up and you decided on a career that you want to undertake, there are many people, as I'm sure everybody agrees, that has a big impression on them. It can be anything, can't it? From Casey Jones, the train driver, remember him? And you might think, oh, I'll become a train driver, or, I'll work in a bank because you saw Captain Manwaring in Dad's Army. I'm jesting, of course, but you know what I mean. It is a bit like that, isn't it? They make an impression of us. Now, one person who really did make an impression on me was none other than this particular gentleman. That's right, Sir Michael Parkinson. Now, you see, you've got to remember, over here in the United Kingdom, Michael Parkinson was a big name and still remains that today. His interviews are classed as the sort of sublime, effortless approach to getting the best out of a celebrity who seemingly doesn't want to speak. Well, apart from Meg Ryan, of course, Yes, you can't win everyone, can you, Sir Michael? Now, I was lucky enough to call Sir Michael a friend for many years. And, of course, the person who gave him his big break, even though he was working in local newspapers at the time in Barnsley in South Yorkshire, was this man, Johnny Hamp. Johnny Hamp, a huge producer in the Granada world who created so many hit programmes, so many stars, and is a thoroughly nice man, let me tell you. Currently working on yet another book. Who he has not met and worked with, well, you really, it's incredible, trust me. But back to Sir Michael. You see, Michael told me this wonderful story all about his now famous interview over in Australia with the Princess Royal, Her Royal Highness Princess Anne. I'd love to share this with you. Morning, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining me today. And as ever, yes, well, I know I'm waving a bit slower. It's a bit exhausting, isn't it, doing it that quickly? I know what it's like. Yes, we've still got the rain. I know you want to know these things. And yes, apparently now, have you seen this, by the way? Cadbury's have released this thing trying to obliterate Easter now. Gesture eggs. Not Easter eggs, gesture eggs. Oh, please, I just stopped buying all of these things. I mean, it's ridiculous. Really, why are they always trying to take away the things that mean so much to so many people? Do you agree? It's just madness, isn't it? Cadbury's, if I were you looking to buy an egg, find another brand. Go for Nestle or something like that. I don't know if they're owned by the same company. That's the thing, is it, with these big conglomerate people? What do you do? Now, let me tell you about something far more cheerful. So Michael Parkinson, as I say, I met him and interviewed him on a few occasions, and he was everything you wanted him to be. You see, when I was growing up, he was the person, as I say, that was interviewing all of these big names, the Lauren Bacalls, Fred Astaire's, Robert Mitchum, and they came down those stairs at BBC Television Centre, and you think, wow, you actually are going to meet, James Cagney, you're going to sit and chat to him, and it just seemed an impossible world to go into, and it really did inspire me to go into sort of television journalism, that sort of stuff. I came from a theatrical background, stand-up comedy, variety show, and I still enjoy that to this day, but that really, the Hollywood thing, was a big pinnacle. Now, Michael told me that basically when he got the interview out in Australia with Captain Mark Phillips and, of course, Princess Anne, it was a big deal. Was she a diva? No, not at all. Apparently backstage all she required was a bottle of water and some soft fruit, a couple of bananas, pears, that sort of stuff. He said he couldn't believe how easy she was to deal with. No questions were asked in advance, just, sort of an idea so she could prepare something in her mind, wasn't totally stunned by what he was going to ask. And I thought, oh, wow, He said, but the bigger fetch really was, of course, he had hoped that the Princess Anne interview, which was very highly rated, would help him land an interview with the Duke of Edinburgh, His Royal Highness Prince Philip. And apparently it was a flat no. Now, they met on many different occasions. So Michael one day said, he tried to get friendly with him, but he wasn't really having it. And he said, eventually, look, why won't you come on the show? And he said, well, to be honest with you, he said, I've really got nothing much to say. He said, I don't really know if the public really are that interested in me. It should be about the work that I do, and I don't know if they want to know about the work that I do because, it's already out there in the public domain. And it got me thinking, when you look back at that particular interview, because, I've got the audio and the footage, that you think, wow, what a difference of a time that makes. There's a man who really did have a fascinating backstory. And as Michael said, he tried every single trick in the book to make him agree to it, And I asked Princess Anne, herself, I said, well, why didn't your dad want to go and do, Parkinson? And she said, to be honest with you, he really enjoyed the show, loved watching the interviews, and didn't want the magic to go if he'd gone along. But I said, look, it's great fun. He's wonderful. but nothing could change his mind. It's funny, isn't it, the backstories of how things evolve and things pan out. For Michael, he never got that sit down with the late Duke of Edinburgh, His Royal Highness Prince Philip, but as he said, Princess Anne, well, that was equally as good, and I think we all agree. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.